Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we're going to be looking at an interview I did a few months ago, just sitting over there, and we're going to be talking about kind of my early years leading up to kind of my job, selling on Amazon, and basically the whole journey. So it's quite a long video. I hope you do enjoy it, but it's going to give you a little sneak peek into a bit more about me. So hopefully you do enjoy it. Make sure you are subscribed with those notifications turned on. Let's get into the video straight away. And I just sat there like by the poolside on the beach, and I was just like, I literally had enough. Like my foot off the gas after I went to uni.
Yeah.
And that's when I got into a rut of being an employee. And it got to that point where I was working at the job. I would like go to the toilet, check how many sales I made on Amazon, and just be like, yeah!
All you have to do is have a laptop, an internet connection, and a bit of time every single day maybe to get it set up and keep it running, and you can do it from anywhere in the world. And I was like, that is a sick business model.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome to the Bayta Podcast. I'm here joined by Jonny Bradley. And I'm going to introduce him, and then he's going to introduce himself as well. So over the past year, you've transformed yourself and used to working a 9-to-5 job, corporate job, and now you're building a personal brand with over 25,000 YouTube subscribers, 80,000 Instagram followers, and you're an Amazon FBA expert, which we'll go on to explain a little bit more later on, and earning six figures plus.
Yeah,
that's okay. Just checking. Through his multiple income sources. So, did you just want to sort of recap? Yeah,
that's probably better than I could have said it. But no, yeah, thanks for kind of having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it. And hello to everyone that is actually I don't know.
Yes,
there's a camera there. To sum that up and maybe put it from my perspective, 18 months ago I was in the position that many people are in, watch my YouTube channel if I want to, have financial freedom. I think when I started it was like, I want an extra few £100s a month so I could save up and go on holiday. That was like the big thing, because I wanted to go to nice places on holiday, but I definitely could not afford it. I'd have to get a credit card, max it out, and then pay it off over like 3 years. So I was doing that. I was working, trying to find out what I wanted to do, how to make more money. Started up the YouTube channel, learned FBA. We'll go into it a bit more.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a roller coaster over the last year of progression, not only personally but then professionally, to the point now where it's pretty good. But then I can also see that it's going to continue on into the future. Yeah. Don't mind that noise. There's a cat on a cat scratcher.
Add some character to it.
It's just character, yeah. We'll get it to. No, it's just lying down now. It's all good.
So today we're just going to talk a bit about you, early life, what was school and university, stuff like that's like. More going on to the next stages, which is when you started Amazon FBA, and then growing a personal brand. And also we've got a segment that we're going to talk about, and you're going to want to stay tuned towards the end if you're looking to start Amazon FBA, is that actually the way Jonny and I connected is we took a course a year and a half ago, and I saw Jonny through that, followed his YouTube channel, and I started a product. It didn't turn out as well as I'd liked it. And I know a lot of people were in a similar sort of position that I was when I was talking to them. So we're going to go through that, and hopefully Jonny, being the Amazon FBA expert he is going to hopefully critique and sort of have a look, and we'll go through that later on. So it'll be packed full of value. So definitely stay tuned to the end for that. But let's start off with the beginning. So what was it like growing up? Where were you from, and sort of what was your background?
Yeah. So I kind of grew up in Hertfordshire area, so kind of close to where we are now. And I don't know, I was like, it was a good childhood. I lived in the country. it was to be honest, it was quite good. But the thing I didn't appreciate at the time was what my dad was trying to do in terms of trying to help me out and change my mindset. Yeah. Looking back, I can see what he was doing and why he was doing it. At the time, I had no idea. And because he's an entrepreneur, he's a business owner, and his life changed when he set up a business. When he went from, I think he was about 40 or something like that, and he said his biggest regret in life was waiting until he was 40 to set up a business that he could have done when he was 21. And
what was he doing beforehand?
So he's done a whole bunch of stuff like surveying, project management, and then set up a couple of companies in project management and recruitment, and did really well with them. So that was my kind of role model, but I didn't know it at the time, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was just like, just play outside and stuff like that. Just like play guitar and just do the things that I wanted to do. And yeah, it was a pretty good childhood. I don't know. So a lot of people that do entrepreneurship, they have like a big story about how it was bad. But I just didn't have that. So
it's really similar to my story, basically. Like my parents, they had jobs and whatever, but my stepdad was a carpet fitter, and my mum had just worked for British Airways, and it was too much travelling to be around a family. And they were like, why don't we just start a carpet business? And this was at the turn of the financial crisis. So really not a good time, but...
This is about the same time for my dad as well. That moment where basically the job just dried up. And he was like, okay.
Exactly. It's now or never.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was that which, now looking back, I definitely think on that there always been that's one of my main inspirations, because I go, they work so hard. Like, they could work less, but they work hard to work for themselves, essentially.
Yes.
And do it for themselves.
Well, it's quite interesting. My dad's, this is quite a few years ago, he said, because I've wanted to start a business for ages. And I've tried to start businesses and failed, quite a few times. And he said, he set me a challenge, and this legit did happen.
Yeah.
He said, your challenge is to earn more than I did in his prime, right? And it was a fair amount. At the time I was like, that is never going to happen. Literally never. And I've surpassed it, which is good.
Which is nice. Have you gloated to him about
I rubbed it in his face, it's just saying, like, you worked all those years for that, and I did it quick. But no, he he's like a role model, someone that's kind of pushed me. And I know a lot of people on the internet, including myself, will talk about the fear of failure.
Yeah.
And we spoke about this, me and my dad, in a huge amount of depth, because he was on the stage of being like around the corner, so he could see what the fear of failure looked like and what happens when you get past it. And he's always saying to me, you need to do it. Like, your first business will probably fail, which it did. But that will get you over that fear of failure, so you realise that actually it's not that scary. And that really helps me start up, the future things that I wanted to start up, because he was always there to say, you just need to get over it. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just you're building this thing up. It's like to be this really horrible thing, but actually it's just nothing.
It's the anxiety and the nervousness.
I was about to think about anxiety. Like, I used to have like anxiety with flying. So the anxiety of before the getting on the plane was way worse than actually flying.
Yeah,
I get on the plane, I'm like, oh, actually, it's just like a Airbus.
Nice.
Literally.
Yeah. So school, was that all okay? No massive issues there?
School was all good. Kind of average student. I didn't, not particularly kind of academic. Not a bad student. I went to a guitar school right after I did my GCSEs, because I wanted to do music. That was the thing that I wanted to do more than ever. So I went to the place called the Institute of Contemporary Music Performance. So it sounds really pretentious, but it was basically like learn how to play guitar and theory and stuff like that. So I went to do that, and that was like, I was 16 at the time, amongst people that were in their 20s, 30s, all mingled together. And I went, after that, it was a year, I went back to sixth form, because I wanted to go to uni. And I had this big shift of like, people are still treating me like a child. Whereas in the guitar school, they were treating me like an adult. And I really didn't get on with the teachers. I wouldn't do homework. I still did well, but I had this big, it wasn't like a chip on my shoulder, but I was like, treat me like...
it's a frustration though,
It was definitely a frustration, and some of the teachers, I had to drop one of the classes because we just could not see eye to eye. And they were like, you got to do your homework. And I'm like, I'm not doing it, because if I need to learn it, and I need to know how to do it, I know how to teach myself, because I've been through this kind of different level of education. So I don't need to read out a textbook and do the homework. And they just hated me for it.
To me, that in itself almost is the start of an entrepreneurial spark, if you get me. You're not conventional. You're like, I can do this my way. I know how to do it.
It's like people talk about the different ways of learning. I don't know what they are, but like seeing or hearing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what the technical terms are. I knew my way of learning, and I knew that their way of teaching me wasn't working and wasn't going to work for me. And I think that made me see what school was actually like. And it wasn't. That was the point where I was like, okay, like this is interesting.
I think that's a shame though, because it takes a lot of self-awareness for people in school and college, whatever, to realise that they don't learn a certain way, and then you're left feeling like an idiot essentially because you can't learn that way. Yeah. So actually, in a way, it's good that you had this self-awareness, and that year out probably was. It sounds like very significant,
massively influential, because I was. So if anyone knows it, so I was kind of near the Bishop Stortford area, which is kind of between, I don't know, London and Cambridge. Yeah. And I would travel from there into London to go to this school. I was 16, so I got a moped, would drive to the station with a guitar on my back, which kind of acted like a sail when it was windy, so I'd like try and nearly fall over. But then I'd basically commute into London like it was a job, and then come back out. So like went from being under, basically I relied on my parents for everything, to being self-sufficient very, very quickly, and then went back to being treated like a child. It wasn't good, but no, I think that was definitely a turning point within, I guess, the mindset of like what you can achieve by yourself, because the big thing they taught me in this school, in the guitar school, is how to teach yourself. Right. So they wouldn't teach you anything. They would just say, this is what you need to learn, just like university. Go out and teach yourself how to do it, and that's what I would do. Whereas in a school, they try and teach you everything. They don't teach you how to learn, how to be self-sufficient, how to actually educate yourself. And I think maybe fast forwarding to now, in hindsight, that was probably a really good thing, like you said, just to have that ability to be like, okay, I want to learn how to do something, rather than, wait for someone to tell me. I'll just go and find the answer. Because the answer's out there somewhere.
Something that someone that's like very fond of me, I'm fond of them, told me, you can learn anything. And I know it sounds simple, but it was the scenario that we were in that really stuck with me, because I'd been doing this internship, and he just went, you can learn anything. And to hear that from someone who's founded this big company, it was quite crazy. So no matter what format it is, as you've said, you might be whatever the technical term of the type of learner you are, you just need to find that. Yeah,
you need to realise how you learn, and just then leverage that knowledge, and as going forward. If someone tells you to read a book to learn, like for example, I can't listen to audiobooks. Like if I had a book in front of me and an audiobook and listened to the audiobook, I wouldn't know what the story. I wouldn't know what it's about.
Just don't process it.
It just doesn't work. Whereas reading really, really works for me, and I just absorb everything. So as long as you know that, I just don't listen to audiobooks and read books instead.
Exactly. I think the key here is self-awareness.
Self-awareness, definitely,
So moving on from
put that on silent.
Moving on from moped with guitar on your back, going to university. So what happened at university?
University was wicked. I really enjoyed it. A lot of entrepreneurs will say it was if they went to uni, it was a waste of time. For the actual degree, you could say it was a waste of time. I did music technology. I don't know what I would do with that degree. It's just I wanted to do that at the time because it was what I was interested in. But I had a really good time. I did a hobby, which was I think again one of those moments where I look back and go, that was such an influential point that I didn't just do something that someone else wanted me to do. I decided that I wanted to do something that I enjoyed doing, even though it probably wasn't the best decision ever. But I had 3 years at uni, just making songs, and it didn't feel like work. It was just enjoyable. It was wicked. I went to Kingston Uni, so it was a nice place, really nice area. If anyone's ever been, I'd highly recommend going there. But it was just uni. I just enjoyed it, as most people do when they go to uni. They just
lots of going out.
Just go out. My course was very, very low time, so some people have to do proper long days at uni. I was doing maybe 3 or 4 hours 3 days a week.
And were you working part-time as well at the same time or anything like that?
I started working. I tried to work for Ted Baker. That was my first, I guess, job at uni. As a temp. They didn't keep me on, and I was like, okay, I need money so I can go out. So I started teaching guitar because I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I know how to play, I know how to teach because I know how to teach myself. So I could just do that to other people. So I started doing that, handed out some flyers, got a few students, and just started teaching them over about a year. They progressed, which was quite nice to see.
Were they younger age?
Younger age, yeah. Most of them were young. One of the one kind of group I taught was a young, very very young child, like a 9 or 11-year-old, and their dad.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Family situation.
It was literally the whole family. It was stressful, but it was a whole family.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting thing, and that was like money, like it was like cash in hands. And that was that point where I was like, okay, I could have just gone and worked for like Ted Baker or whatever. And when I considered how much I was getting paid to doing something that I enjoyed doing and was more rewarding as well, because you could see people progressing, I was like, why was I working at Ted Baker? I should have done this all along. But then it kind of fizzled out, right? Because I was like, how am I gonna? I need to get a job. I need to get a career. And I just stopped doing it basically. Yeah, which is a shame. So unfortunately.
Before we move on, do you have any other sort of? And I've seen videos and channels where you've talked about the entrepreneurial things you've done, but do you have any sort of a couple of things that you think back now and go, actually, that was massively influential?
I think
you're up to.
I don't know. I think all like so many things. I used to have a recording studio in my house and used to charge bands to record this. I've always been entrepreneurial since as long as I can remember. I just never knew how to actually do it well. I never knew how to make enough to be able to sustain myself, only just to get a bit extra pocket money. So I think all of those, there wasn't probably one significant point, but it was all those little things put together that over the space of however many years it's been, it's probably, I don't know, 17 years or something like that, I've been really interested in entrepreneurship. So when I was probably, since I was like 11 or something, it's just ingrained in me that that's what I've always wanted. But I took a big like my foot off the gas after I went to uni. And that's when I got into a rut of being an employee and thinking that that's the way to be successful. So I think that's probably one of the most, it's like on the opposite side of, rather than there's an influential thing that helps me get success, I think that was the thing that actually really made me step outside the box, 18 months ago, because I was working for like 5 years at Apple. I was like, okay, I need to leave there. I tried to get some sales jobs, got one sales job, moved to London, got another one, and I was like, this can't be it, right? And that got me to the point of frustration, like real frustration. I was not happy. I was thinking, right, I need to do something now. Like it's getting to the point where I've done this for 5 years, and time flies as well. And that's when it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, I've had enough. Like whatever is happening, I am doing something about it right now. So I needed that. I think more so than anything else. I needed the pain of, I guess, having to work every day.
Do you feel like your time at Apple, you got absorbed into the culture, and that's why the 5 years went so quick?
I loved the place. In terms of a company to work for, like I think they're wicked. I did some incredible things there. They invited me out to like headquarters or like secret projects and stuff like that. I was the sales trainer and I taught like the technical team. So I was kind of doing the teaching, and that was the thing that I really enjoyed doing. So it was really, really interesting. I developed massively as a person in terms of like, sales techniques, psychology of selling, like how to overcome objections and all the things that really, really help generally in life. I managed to learn a lot there, and I love the technology. I'm a proper like tech geek, so I really enjoy the technology side of things and teaching people about it. And then like whoever it may be, when people figure out that they can do something really cool with their iPhone, I'm like, that's sick. But that's the stuff I like. So I always liked working there. But the reason that I kept working there is that every 6 months or so I progressed into a new job. Even though it was the same company, it was a slightly different job while I was there. And that kept me on my toes. And then it got to the point where there was no next thing, or I had to wait a year to get to the next level, and I was like, I can't.
It's too long.
It's too long. I was doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. It was just that's when I was like, okay, I'm out now, because they couldn't offer me anything else. So that was although a great company to work for. I learned a lot. I think I stayed there too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned briefly as well about the sort of sales training element, and also, you know, overcoming objections.
Yeah.
How has that helped you in your entrepreneurial ventures now?
Just massively.
Yeah.
Literally.
Do you understand a lot more about the psychology of selling?
Huge amount, yeah. Because the way I think about it, Apple put hundreds of thousands, probably, if not millions, into their strategies on how they sell their products, right? And then I had access to all of that, and I was teaching all of, like, I think in the store we had about 80 or 90 people, and I would teach all of those people how to do those things, how to convey what Apple are trying to convey to the customers. And it was the psychology of what to say, how to say it, when to say it, in what order, to make someone feel a certain way. So if someone comes in really annoyed at you and they're shouting at you, to just disarm them straight away, just with a few words. And that's really helped. Just, for example, say a customer has a problem with one of their products, right? And you know it's their fault, right? They're just or they're just trying to, like, get through a loophole, whatever it may be. There's just a different way you can say things, which is, you know, which all the big companies will do. But sometimes with smaller companies, you won't see it because they're not trained on how to deal with customer issues. Or, for example, with a personal brand, you know, it's just a way of supporting people, so they know that I know that they know that I care, basically, rather than just being like, oh yeah, here's the answer. It's just like just replying in a certain way that knows, so they know I care about them as a person rather than just answering their question. Massively impacted, because I just think about it's probably really cheesy. Like, I know people listen to this and think like, oh, you're such a dick. But I always think, like, well, what would Apple do in this situation? Like, how their marketing, right? Very, very clean design. They have people, like, they have a huge team of people. It's one of the biggest companies in the world, some of the best marketing in the world. So you just model what they do. So if you're doing a sales page and the only thing on the sales page is like the iPhone, and you're selling something and there's all the rubbish everywhere, then just copy what they're doing, be minimalist, and do it the way they do it.
I mean, you may think it's cheesy, but they're one of the biggest companies in the world for a reason. They
are there for a reason. And you're not saying carbon copy what they do. You're saying take influence from what they're doing, because it's working. And you see loads of companies do the same thing. It's just with small companies, then you have the ability to mimic huge companies. It's just a lot of people maybe don't think that or they don't think they can. And you see some websites, you're like, what the hell is that? And it's just like, it's weird. Like, for example, if people have ever seen like ClickFunnels, right? So it's a website builder, but it's very easy to make it look really spammy and like scammy because of the button colors and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't really like using it because it doesn't look clean. If that makes sense. So I would use it, and it's good for some things, but I wouldn't have my website built on it. I'd build my website on something else. So you can do it in a certain way. I know. Fanboy.
So I suppose we'll pick up from there then. So Apple kind of stagnated in a career progression. It was a good place to work, but just personally, it wasn't like you had some sort of vendetta against the company.
No, not at all. Like, I got a huge amount. I literally took as much as I could from the company in terms of self development. And then took everything I could, got to the point where I was like, probably can't get any more, and decided to leave. I was like, I need more. The thing to me was like, I need more money, right? I'm working so hard, and I was always trying to progress and be better. But I would get like 5% increase in wage a year, which is more than some companies, but it's not a lot.
Not what you want.
It's not. It's not. I don't think it's not. An equal amount for the value that you're offering. Like an extra 5% of your wage, I was like, oh, it's not very good. So I was like, okay, I need to go into sales. I need to go into commission sales. So I had a friend that was doing it. He was doing quite well. So I was like, okay, like, you know, get me a job. Went there, did that for a bit, and realised, okay, this is literally the same thing every day. And it is just so boring, where you're just like, I was just phoning people, phoning. It was an interesting job, and I was reaching out to CEOs of the biggest companies in the world, right, top level CEOs or C-level executives for the biggest finance companies. Then, although I was speaking to some awesome people, it was just a boring job. And it was like it was just numbers on a board. Like, how many calls have you made? And I was like, oh man, it's
felt like a cog.
it literally a cog. And then I was like, okay, if I want to be successful, then I need to move to London, because that's where people wear suits and and that's where successful people work. So I did just that. Spoke to someone that I'd met through a friend who's the director at a recruitment company. So I was like, okay, can I come work for you? And he was like, yeah, sick. So I went to do that, thinking, this is how I'm gonna make more money.
Make it,
and it was just more of the same, basically. Like, work you as hard as you possibly can. You can't leave on time because you're looked at a certain way. If you leave on time, it's like, oh, then obviously not trying hard enough. Whereas my approach was be as efficient as possible. So I would do less work, but I would make more than other people. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm not doing that. Because it doesn't make any sense. Because they're just picking up the phone for the sake of picking up the phone, whatever. And I just got to the point where I was like, this is not enjoyable. I was commuting nearly 3 hours a day into London. And that sucked. I thought it was really, at the beginning I was like people watching and it was all good. Yeah. Like seeing what people do, like whatever. But after a while I got really too much. Really, really. And a lot of people I know will be in this situation where they just like, the commute is just literally the most horrible thing I've ever experienced. So I went to Turkey, right? I needed a cheap holiday, because this is the sort of point where people are like, don't go to Turkey. Like, it's a bad place to go right now, right? And I was like... the military coup and everything. Yeah, exactly. All that was happening, right? So anyway, I went to Turkey, got a really cheap deal. It was like, I don't know, £300 for 10 nights. Yeah. For like 2 people. I don't know what it was, but it was dirt cheap. And I just sat there like by the poolside on the beach, and I was just like, I've literally had enough. There is no way I'm not doing something that I need to create like a side hustle, to create side income. During all that time, for the weeks running up to it, I was watching YouTube, I was watching people like Tanner, a whole bunch of other people online, just thinking, okay, what can I do? I started reaching out to some people that were making some money. And I considered lots of different options, but I procrastinated for like weeks and weeks and weeks. I procrastinated. And it was at that point where I went on holiday and I was sitting there and I just had that time to think. I really needed that time to think. And I was like, right, when I get back, the first thing I'm doing, I think it was the Friday I got back, the first thing I'm doing is I'm buying an online course, because it's putting your money where your mouth is. I needed to have the accountability for it, because it wasn't working before that. And I'm going to start my YouTube channel. I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel, and I just had nothing to talk about. So I was like, this is a perfect idea. I'll start a YouTube channel to talk about what I'm doing, because it's quite interesting. I would want to see it if I was on the other side. And we'll just see what happens. It's like, it might work, it might not. And just literally like throw a punt in it, because I felt like I was at least doing something rather than just going back into the job and doing the same thing and getting the same results. Whereas, if you want to, what was it, the Einstein quote? It's like, if you want, like, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing but expect different results. Right. And that's basically when everything changed, and that's when the last year I've had my overnight success, whatever, as people can't sometimes look at it, but it's not been like that at all.
So it started off then, had you shopped around for different online courses? Like, can you give us more content? Did you buy a few, or was it the first one?
No, the first one was definitely the one where I was really worried about spending the money, like super, it was a lot of money. Like, bear in mind that I've just like saved up even like pennies to try and go on a holiday. I wasn't in a bad way. It was just, I was living near London. Commuting is really expensive. I just didn't have that much money. So that like first few £100 was honestly the most important. But once I realised and got into the community of other people doing the same thing, then it felt like a big, not like weight lifted, but it felt like, oh, okay, I'm not by myself, right? There's other people out there that also want to do the same thing, because I couldn't speak to anyone in person, or even anyone I knew about like being an entrepreneur or doing like Amazon or doing on YouTube. I didn't know anyone that really I could speak to about it. But as soon as I got into these communities, then it was like loads of people wanting to do the same thing. It really, really helped. So that was the first one I got. I looked at other ones like for different business models, but what I wanted to do, because I was working full time, I definitely couldn't afford to quit my job like at all. I didn't really want to take time off, because they look at you badly when you take time. Anyway, whatever. So I was like, right, Amazon works for me because it's a passive income stream. I can set it up after work, even though I've got like horrendous hours. I was leaving the house at 7 a.m. I was getting back about between 8:30, maybe 9:30 at night. So I was literally out of the day for the majority of the day. I was like, okay, in the evenings I could do half an hour, and in the mornings I could do half an hour. And I could be able to find a product, I can get it launched because I don't have to physically go somewhere and do something. It took a couple of months, and then eventually had the products all in and all that sort of stuff. And it got to that point where I was working at the job, right, and I wasn't allowed my phone on me, or you weren't allowed to get your phone out. Just getting another one of those stupid rules.
Yeah.
And I would like go to the toilet, check how many sales I made on Amazon, and just be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
And it was such a good feeling of that, like that first instance of passive income. And I was kind of hooked. I was like, if I can start it by the amount of time that I didn't have.
Yeah, an hour a day.
It was an hour a day. Like on the weekends, I'll do a bit more. But I really did not have time, right? I just did not have time. I couldn't like do it while I was at work. I couldn't just go on the computer and do it. There was no way that was possible. So if I was thinking if I can do it, then lots of other people can do it as well. When people say to me they've got no time, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
just get up earlier.
Everyone has time.
Everyone has time. I think for those two, I did get really burnt out. For 2 months, I probably worked on about 4 hours sleep a night.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to do all these, and the YouTube channel as well. So I was trying to create the YouTube content and learning how to do that. So I got super burnt out after 2 months, but I managed to quit my job in 2 months. And then I just had a week of just like sleeping.
Yeah.
So I needed it.
Refresh, yeah.
So it was definitely hard work, but it was 100% worth it. 100%.
And then as well, just in case anybody doesn't know what FBA is, Amazon FBA is fulfillment by Amazon. So any products that you buy products online from Alibaba or any sort of manufacturer. And what Jonny does is private labeling, right?
Yeah. So there's basically 3 elements to it, right? So there's private labeling as the first element. There's the Amazon selling platform as the second element, and there's the fulfillment by Amazon, or known as FBA, as the third element. Private labeling is just like getting a product, right? So if you have a microphone like the one we've got in front of us, that says blue on it, it's like Blue Yeti or whatever it is. You could have one made in China which just says yellow, right? Yeah. And it could be your yellow brand, Yellow Yeti. And you can sell that product on Amazon. So private labeling, that's the kind of getting the product aspect. Then the Amazon platform is the way of making sales, right? So Amazon have all these customers that come to Amazon every single day. They've already done the promotions and done the advertising to sell to these customers. You're then offering your product, which is like the Yellow Yeti microphone, and then hopefully people buy it, right? And then the third element is the FBA. So what a lot of people will think is that, okay, when a customer buys the product, I've got to go get the product from my garage, go to the post office, and I've got to go post it to the customer. Well, what FBA means is that you actually have your stock sent to Amazon. They have like huge warehouses, and then their staff will pick the product off the shelf, they'll send it to the customer, and then you just do nothing, right? And literally you do nothing, and people don't believe that you do nothing. So it's those 3 things combined that make it a really.
But that's what enabled you to do it whilst working.
Precisely, and like people, some people will want to do things like social media marketing, or they might consultancy in some way, but you need time to do those things. Whereas this, because it's work, Amazon charge you fees and stuff like that, but the fees are there so that you don't have to do things yourself. Yeah. Because you can post the stuff yourself, but if you can get Amazon,
it's almost sometimes the same price as well. In some scenarios.
It's pretty much the same price. Yeah. It's in some scenarios. But the main thing is that I don't have time to be able to post stuff. Even now, I wouldn't have time to do it. Yeah. Just for the sheer volume. So. Yeah, Amazon take that all off your hands. So that means all you have to do is have a laptop, an internet connection, and a bit of time every single day, maybe, to get it set up and keep it running. And you can do it from anywhere in the world. And I was like, that is a sick business model. Yeah. Because most businesses, the big thing or the reason why they fail, or the big issue they have, is that they can't get enough customers, and they can't get enough clients, or they fail because they can't make enough money. Whereas with doing private labeling in Amazon FBA, Amazon already have the customers. Yeah. You don't have to go out there and do client outreach. You don't have to do your own like Facebook advertising. If you don't know how to run a Facebook ad, it doesn't matter. You could just use Amazon's platform. So that's why it was a really, really interesting business model, because I was like, that's actually like sick.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
So let's talk about the first product that you got then. And with FBA, we probably won't mention it because typically you don't talk about the types of products because you want to keep it competitive and keep your...
you don't want to give away your secrets.
Exactly. So the first type of product you got, how much did you outlay for that, and how well did that go for you?
This is going back. I think I budgeted about £1,500.
Yeah.
I think I spent a little bit more than that. I think I probably spent nearer 2,000 with like photos and all the other marketing things you need.
Whatever you think it's going to cost, add on another few £100.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I have people that I teach now that have done it for under 1,000 and doing really well now. But as long as you have a budget, then you can work towards it, right? So I basically worked back from my budget. So, well, how many units can I afford to order if the price was, £5? Yeah. So how many can I get and whatever. So I did that. They sold out really quickly, and I was like, oh, okay, that was easy. I need more. Yeah. So I buy some more stock. But the first product I had an issue with, literally just that, right? I was going in stock, out of stock, in stock, out of stock, and I couldn't afford to order the amounts that I needed to maintain the stock level, to maintain this might be going over some people's heads, but to maintain the rank on Amazon so that I could continue to make sales. I literally couldn't afford it. I worked out that I had to order somewhere in the region between 20 and 40,000 pounds worth of stock. Yeah. Within maybe a 4-week period.
So it was purely just a cash flow issue.
A huge cash flow issue, yeah.
Which is a good and bad issue to be having.
Yeah, it was like, okay, cool. Like, I know the business model works, but that product, maybe it wasn't right for me at that particular time because of the choice in like the cost or whatever it may be, or maybe it was in the demand was too high. Yeah. Right. And I couldn't afford to do it. Still a good product. I thought about, should I get a loan? Should I do this? And I was like, do you know what? No, I'm gonna just try and find something a little bit cheaper and do that and build, and just be aware that I need to build it slowly over time, and just not expect it to go to like a million miles an hour straight away. Because if it does that, you have these stock issues and a scaling issue. It's like the economies of scale. Like businesses sometimes fail because they scale too quickly. Yeah. So I didn't want that to happen. So I think the second one I went into, I just had a bit more intention over how many to order, how much more of a risk to take, when to order, all those like the little intricacies that on the first one I was like, you don't know, if you haven't done it, you don't know. Yeah. You can learn, but everything's always going to be different. Every product's going to be different. Every market, every category is always going to be different. So you just have to play it by ear. Like sometimes I think if you can hit it as a home run product the first time, fantastic. Like congratulations for doing it. But I think the first one is so important just to actually see the process end to end. Yeah. Of you'll know this. Like there's some things which are a little bit confusing, like creating shipping plans and stuff like that. First time you do it, like where do I click? But the second time you do it, you're like easy. Done. Like, I can do it like within about 5 minutes. It's done. I can do it like literally just after I've woken up. It's like bleary eyed, and it's it's easy stuff. But the first time you do it is I think just that time where you're learning. Yeah. And that was super, super important to do that. Yeah, it's cool. And we were like, this is ridiculous. No one was doing it at the time. And we started getting, I think the first post that we went viral was like 1.6 million views. I'd rather do less things
and do them right.
And we'll do them right, but spend more time on them. Yeah. Is when you're creating your business plan and when you're thinking about what is this business, think about, well, when am I getting out of the business, right? Is this a passion that you want to do forever, or is this something to make money? Yeah. I want to build something for 5 years, get the turnover as high as possible, right? Get the profit as high as possible, and then sell the company. Yeah. A lot of people say, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it definitely buys you opportunities to be happy. Yeah.
So the second product, when that came in, it was slightly cheaper.
Yeah, I just changed my criteria up a little bit. Yeah, and that's the thing that you really need to do. Like, just change your criteria up a bit and kind of roll with it. Basically, have a barrier of what you can afford, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and then just try and find something that sort of goes between those two barriers. Yeah, there can be leeway, but Yeah, I think a lot of time people are looking for like the perfect like Goldilocks zone product. I don't think it exists, and by the time it does exist, then it's too late.
Too competitive.
Well, yeah, it's just by the time you do all your product research and stuff like that and launch it, and it's going to be a little bit too late for you. So you kind of want to get in there before. It's a little bit slightly different approach. And like my approach now is I see a lot of people try and launch product after product after product of like one every 2 months or one every month. And I just don't believe that's the right way to go about doing it, because if you can have the same results with less products, for me that it's going back to that issue of like if I when I was working, if you've got to make all these calls, well if I get the same results by making less, then who cares? So I kind of take that approach of try and find one product and work on it for however long you need to try and get it to as high as possible. Like keep working on your marketing, keep working on your images and your SEO and all those good things, so that you can make it as good as possible, rather than after 2 months after you've launched it and it's making some money, then putting all your focus into something else. Because if you put spinning all the plates at the same time, then eventually one's going to fall down. Whereas if you're focusing on one thing, then it's probably more likely to be more successful. And that's kind of when we go back to the Apple approach, right? Apple sell 5 products, right? They're one of the biggest companies in the world, and they say iPhone, iPad, iMac, MacBook, Apple Watch. Right? It's 5 key like hero products. The reason they do that is so they can put more time and more resources into those things to make them as good as possible. Whereas lots of other companies, they'll sell everything under the sun, but won't be very good. They'll have issues, or they just won't have as much like finesse in terms of as like for their marketing or their product itself. So my approach is, and what I try to tell people is, focus on one and really, really work on it, scale it so that you can afford to actually reinvest, and you can afford to get it to a point where you're making good amount from it. And then if you know what you're spending, like when you're spending it, how long it takes for you to make that money back, then you know your cash flow. At that point, if you've got money to spare and you want to start up another product,
you can go for it.
Go and do that. But if it gets like 2 months in and you think, this one's doing really well, I want to start another one. Well, what if the other one does really, really, really well, and you're like, okay, I haven't got enough money, and it could potentially screw up both of them. So it's kind of, maybe it's too cautious. I don't know. It's just my approach. My feeling to it is I'd rather have one like killer product than 10 kind of like average ones. And plus it's just less work. And I'd rather do less work,
of course. So for some people watching, let's say someone's in a 9 to 5 similar situation that you were, and they want to have a side hustle and start earning on the side, what are some small tips that you might not be so obvious that you've talked about that you think actually that eases this transition? Or is it just you just have to be patient and consistent?
I think patience, consistency, those are really, really important things. I would say aggressive patience is like, you're happy to wait, but you're not going to be lazy, right? You're going to make things happen, but if they take a week, if it takes 2 months, it takes 2 months, right? The question that I would pose to people is, if it takes 6 months to launch a product or start your business, but that business can make you however much, passively or whatever, it doesn't matter what business model it is, that it can make you X amount for the next 5 years, then is it worth waiting 6 months? And normally most people are like, it's worth it. Like, because I normally work a whole year to get 5% pay rise. So yes, it's definitely worth it. So patience is super, super key. Consistency is so important. If you're going to something like Amazon, like, doing product research, I get some people reach out to me after 3 days. They're like, I can't find any products. I'm like, well, it's because you've been looking for 3 days. Right? There's not just going to magically pop up. It's a bit of a game, and you've got to enjoy that process. Consistency is so, so important. The patience is so important. But more so probably than everything, there's 2 real things, right? The first is taking action, because nothing's going to happen if you don't do it. Right? You have to go and you have to physically do it. People say, I'm going to start doing this. I might, I'm thinking about, and that it doesn't matter, right? If someone thinks about doing something, so what? You need to actually do it. And that may sound really silly, and I don't know.
But it's true. Well, for you, doing it took you spending and investing your money in a course. Now, other people could just going out and do it, and absolutely fine. But for you, it took that. Okay, I put my money into this.
I needed the accountability.
Yeah.
I needed, and that was just like a personal thing. If I needed, like, well, I've spent money on this, and money is hard to come by.
It's all good.
Is it right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Leave it. Got the iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Money's hard to come by, so I know I have to make that money worthwhile, right? So the accountability is key, but just taking action and physically doing so. So if people are thinking, I want to start up a business, well, actually do something today that's gonna actually get you that a little bit closer, just a pigeon step closer.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, but that tiny bit closer. Focus on income producing activities. Focus on the things that are going to make you money. So if you're starting up a business, don't spend time making business cards. No one. It's just like kind of busy work. It's like donkey work.
Yeah.
So taking action is super important, but taking action on the right things, not things that will just give you a gratification of, I've create some business cards, create a website today, but you got no income.
Yeah, exactly.
The second thing, which goes hand in hand with that, is giving up, right? So if you do all these awesome things and you just give up, yes, there's times to quit and there's times to not, but giving up because it's too hard or you just lose interest in it, then it's going to prevent you from all that time you spent doing the good stuff. It's going to prevent you from then following it through.
Yeah.
So, and that goes into the consistency part as well. So if you continue to take action again and again and again and again, eventually you'll see a curve where the productivity will go up, the income will go up over time. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you look at it over a year or over 2 years, it will increase.
Yeah.
But those are the two things that you need to have. You need to be able to take action, and then I guess know when you're giving up because it's not right for you, which is fine, or if you're doing it because you're kind of worried about like failing, right? I don't think that's a good reason to give up if you're worried about it, because that's a fear of failure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope those two things really.
That's cool. So then I suppose we've covered a bit of FBA, and then this is kind of transitioned into your personal brand. Yeah. So you're sort of purveyed as the UK leading Amazon FBA expert.
Yeah. Which is weird, by the way.
Find it a bit crazy being
No, it's crazy because obviously where we both started.
Yeah.
And it's not been that long. But it was because I started up the YouTube channel, and it was just something I wanted to. I had no idea, obviously, that this would happen. And because I was putting out content, which was there wasn't really many other. There was one other person I knew about speaking about Amazon FBA in the UK. But other than that, I couldn't find anything. Yeah.
This is what I struggled with when I started, because it was learning all the UK stuff and messaging the American groups. It was like there's only other people that were from the UK, and there's not much content.
Oh, there was near on zero. Yeah. It was so high, and that's why I wanted to start the channel, is because of I need to know these things, so I know other people, even if it's a small amount of people, I know other people want to know it. So I just started just talking about what I was doing. Yeah. Eventually, that led into people asking me questions about stuff. Just sending me emails or whatever, comments on the YouTube videos, and answer the questions. And this is when it kind of brings me back to those Apple days of how it's impacted me. Is if I didn't know the answer, I wouldn't just tell people I don't know the answer. It would be I don't know that right now. Let me find it out and I'll go back to you. So I would upskill myself. I went from a position of knowing literally nothing about Amazon to very quickly knowing a huge amount about it, because I wasn't happy with not knowing the answer. I'd go and find the answer and then basically tell the answer to someone who wanted to know it. And over time, it just the knowledge just got a lot larger. Yeah. Really, really, really quickly. And then that's when I started doing the tutorials and teaching people about it, because I really understood it. And there's a difference between knowing, doing it right, and then understanding why it works, right? Yeah. So when the big thing. In terms of the teaching, and I've done teaching for a long time, as we've spoken about with the guitar and the Apple and stuff like that, is when you teach something, you really, really learn it, because you have to understand why it works rather than that just works, right? So that really helped me, because I was trying to teach people, then I had to know why something worked rather than we'll just do this, right? This is why you should do this. So I started doing the tutorials, and then again, more people ask questions. So I'd answer more questions, and it just took a big a steep increase. Yeah. So that was what people wanted to know, and so I was like, okay, cool. Well, that's what people want to know, then I'm going to try and give them as much as I can, to the point where it was getting really, really time consuming. That's all I was doing. And that's kind of what I do now, actually, is all I'm doing is answering questions about Amazon.
Yeah.
So I then released my course, right? So we both took a course, and I've taken many since then. And that was just the ability to answer all these questions in one go.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm thinking back to the productivity side of me, is like I'm answering the same things every single day, and people are asking me to help them, but I physically cannot help everyone.
Yeah.
There's only one of me, and there's lots of other people. So that's when the digital, the course came along. And yeah, UK specific, kept it, really kind of laser focused towards helping someone in the UK. Even though a lot of the things are very, very similar, there's just like little nuances, little things that really help. And yeah, people started buying it and stuff, and I was like,
That must have been a really weird thing, because I feel like if I was in that scenario, and I know I'm not, but if I was, I would feel nervous putting my own content out there. And this is something I was going to ask you: is how do you initially go about going, I'm going to price it this much for this amount of content?
It was really hard. Yeah, it was. I had the big thought process in my mind of who am I to speak about this, right? Yeah. There's people that are way more successful than me on Amazon, but I had a conversation, I can't remember who it was, a conversation with someone, and they said something like, it doesn't matter that there's loads of other successful people, if you have something that people want to learn, then, and it's going to help, and it's going to help people, then it's your duty to get it out there. So I started off by selling an ebook. I've just kind of been like, oh, this is weird.
Trying it.
It's just like trying, because I was really nerve-wracking, very, very nervous about it, about what people would think. In hindsight, because it was, people liked it, I was like, phew, right? But that got me into that mindset of, okay, cool, this is a different way to help people. And it really, when someone pays for something, it's when I go back to when I first paid for something, they're more likely to take action on something. So a lot of people will watch the YouTube videos and they won't do anything about it, right? Like me for many things that I've done in the past. Yeah. But when you put your money where your mouth is, that gives you that accountability. So I appreciate that people still need that accountability. Some people might charge very little for courses. You can go on Udemy and you can buy courses for £10. Yeah. You're probably not going to do anything with it because you've spent 10 quid on it. Yeah. Whereas when you spend a few £100s on something, I think that's an amount where you're like, I need to action these steps. Yeah. The pricing element, you know what I mean? It was the first time doing it. I was like, just put it out there. I thought it was very reasonable for the amount of content I put in there, and the particular thing that I wanted to do was be a lot better for the support aspect, right? So how can I give people more support? Because I know that's what people really want, right? They want someone to ask questions to. They want a support network, just like I wanted when I started. I needed people. Specifically, I wanted people in the UK, right? Yeah. To network with, which was hard to find. So I was like, okay, well, I have this UK network. I then eventually hired a specialist, like an FBA specialist. They worked at Amazon for about 5 years as a specialist in FBA, so they can answer really technical questions. I now have we spoke about this earlier, the knowledge base, so people can ask questions and the answers are already there. And then I still have all my personal support. I still do all my emails. So when one of the students asks me a question, it's not like some other person that just regurgitating the information. I sit there and I speak with people
on a specific basis, depending on the person and what their needs are.
Exactly, yeah. So a lot of the time is very specific questions, like feedback on products and stuff like that. And that's the thing that I think differentiates me from a lot of other people. Is that I still do all those things. I add services like the specialist and the knowledge base and all that sort of stuff. But I still keep
the personal touch.
Yeah, it's the personal touch. But I think if I had if I could buy what I'm selling, right, at the beginning, I would have bought it, right? And that's when I look at it and go, I know it's the right thing, because if I would buy it, then I'm happy to sell it.
That's good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. I want to ask more about personal branding. Mm-hmm. Did you have a particular video post that went ridiculously viral more than you expected? Was there a few videos or something that particularly spurted the growth?
I don't know. There's a couple of things. It's a good question actually, because there's quite a few answers for this. So there's a good and bad side to YouTube, right? And it is slightly annoying because if you put money in the title, more people
Yeah.
watch it, right? Just like for me, bit of clickbait, I click it and I watch the video. You can't not, right? So those videos always do a little bit better when I'm talking about money. But I don't like doing those videos, right? And I even said on I did like an earnings video a few weeks ago, and I didn't want to do it because it's just, I don't know, it's just
it is a bit, I feel like as well, being English as well, it's one of those extra things which is like we just don't talk about.
I just don't want to do it, but I know that people want to hear it, so I did the video anyway. But yeah, it's just not something that I like doing. But lots of people watch it. But what I prefer to do is inspire people. I guess this is part of inspire. I want to inspire people to take action. It doesn't matter what the business model is, or if they want to be a professional tennis player.
Yeah.
Like, just inspire them to follow their dreams and do the things that they want to do, rather than just kind of accept the 9 to 5 or whatever is holding them back.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of YouTube, which is the kind of the clickbait side of things. But I think the thing that worked in my favour is that, when we think about products on Amazon, you want high sales, low competition, right? So on YouTube, a lot of people wanted the information, but there was no competition. There was no one talking about it. So I could do these videos and get ranked on YouTube with a very, very small channel. So people would start finding me slowly but surely, which means that now if you search for like Amazon FBA, I'm just like plastered all over it. Because I've just built it up over time and built a loyal following of people that are all in the UK, mostly in the UK. So I know they're all interested in what we're putting out. So I don't think I've had like a viral growth by any means. It's like more of a steady growth, but it's of people that are actually interested in what I'm talking about. I started running ads and stuff like that, which are quite cool. It's quite interesting to find out how ads work on YouTube. But I don't know if there's like one video or anything like that. But I think
what's the most views you've got on like one particular
video?
I've
run ads on some videos, so I've had over 1 million on one.
Oh, okay. But that's paid.
It's not all paid, but it's paid, and I did that because I just wanted to test out ads, right? I just like turned it. I don't even know what I was doing. Like, turn it on, like targeting there, whatever. Like just see what happens. And it was really cool. Like some people found me from the adverts, and people sometimes say, "Oh, I found you from an advert," and that kind of that's when I'm like, oh, okay, cool, adverts. Adverts are cool because it means that you don't have to upload every day. And I went through a spout of like 3 months uploading every single day, and it was the hardest thing ever. And the content got quite dry.
Forcing content.
It was definitely forcing content. And I like the moment I haven't uploaded in about a week, I'm absolutely happy with that. Like when I have a good idea for a video, then I'll do the video and I'll upload it, and not worry so much about I've got to keep the algorithm happy. I'm more focused now on what about the content I'm putting out? Is it going to be useful? Is it just stuff that I've already spoke about before? Does it interest me to make the content? Because like if we're talking about one business model, there's only so many things we can talk about, right? I can't just come up with new content because there might not be any new content. So it's going back through the old stuff, but trying to put a new spin on it to make it interesting for me to record. Right?
Otherwise, it's forced and it's not.
It's forced.
Enjoyable.
It's not enjoyable. Like I've done loads of videos where I've recorded the whole thing and I've been like, I'm not putting that up because I just don't think it's as not necessarily as good as it can be. It's just that I don't think that's interesting. Is it going to help people? Maybe not. I'm just going to sack it off and I'll do it another time. No, I think the big thing for YouTube for me was just the fact I was giving people something that they didn't have. And that's what a lot of people say is they literally hear my voice and see me talking about Amazon. They're like, oh, you're in the UK. And then it's automatically people are like, okay, cool, I'll listen to this guy because he's from the UK.
The uniqueness is important as well. Not only for ranking factors, but also just, I don't know, I think it's good the fact that like drew me to you later on was like, okay, he's a UK guy doing it. It's in a similar situation. So I think that's really cool. I also wanted to get your thoughts on other social media for personal branding. So are you utilizing Snapchat? I know you've got Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. What are your sort of thoughts with these?
So my thoughts of these is I don't know how other people really think about it, but I think you should have one main social media platform and the other ones either promote it or support it, right? So my YouTube is my main social media platform. That's the thing that is the one that's been there for the longest. It's the one that I enjoy the most, right? It's the one that I think YouTube is the best social media platform anyway, or the best platform.
To naturally gravitate towards
it. Gravitates, yeah. I just think it's wicked. However, there's no point, for me personally, people might disagree with me, having a separate personal brand on Facebook and a separate one on Instagram, because then you're doing 3 personal brands. And that's hard work. Like, doing 1 is hard work, so doing 3 is really hard work. So I use Facebook as a support network. So I use it for Facebook groups, pretty much Facebook groups, so that people find me through YouTube, and then they have a support network through Facebook, which is better for support.
Yeah.
Right? It's better for community. YouTube isn't good for that community aspect, whereas Facebook is, right? So that's how I use Facebook. Whereas maybe someone that their main brand is on Facebook, they then might use YouTube for like random content. I don't even know. Or not use YouTube. With Instagram, then I use it. I don't know. I'm still figuring out what the hell I'm doing with that. Like, for months and months and months, I was working with someone trying to kind of growth hack, right? Just trying to get a big account. And I didn't have a goal in mind of I want to monetize it or I want to push them all to YouTube. It's like, I want to grow an account, right? Because I had my YouTube channel, that's going to be fine. This is Instagram, it's a separate platform. I can grow it and just see and just kind of test it and experiment and see how to grow on social media more as a personal kind of like, I want to know how to do this. So I started working with someone, and he actually used to be in a mastermind group that I ran. So, you know, he would pay me money every single month, and we would have calls and we would speak about their business, and they were a graphic designer at the time. But we transformed his business from being a graphic designer to a social media growth expert. And it took a long time, right?
Yeah.
It took months. But the thing is that we worked on is that I gave him my Instagram account from zero, made a new one, and I said, look, figure out how to grow this.
Yeah.
And for months it was, just very slowly and trying all the things that other people say to do. And then he figured out how to go viral on Instagram, right? And how to make videos, every video go viral. And we were like, this is ridiculous. No one was doing it at the time. And we started getting, I think the first post that we went viral was like 1.6 million views.
Yeah.
And we were just like sitting there on the phone and we're like, it's like, is it a fluke?
Yeah.
Let's do it again. And then the next day, like, we could do it again. And then the next day it kept happening. And now loads of people use a kind of a similar technique, or you can actually, like, you can buy the service. So I just, the Instagram was really like, how do you grow a big Instagram account? And really getting into the trenches of what's behind the scenes. How does Instagram actually work? And then I was thinking, well, I can now try and funnel those people to YouTube, right? Because that's the main platform.
The goal,
right? It's the main platform I want people to be on, because I'm not going to put loads of content out on Instagram and YouTube because it's just time consuming. I would need to have like other people doing all the content for me. So previously that wasn't probably viable. So it's okay, how do I get people from Instagram over to YouTube? And I also appreciate that some people use Instagram more than they do YouTube, and they use it on a daily basis. So getting to know someone, building a rapport with someone is why I would use Instagram. So getting on stories, like doing posts, talking about little kind of micro stories.
Yeah.
That's what Instagram's good for, I personally believe. But then I want to funnel them into YouTube, get them kind of knowing what it is I do, how I do it, inspire them to kind of make that change or not if they don't want to. And then once they kind of get into YouTube, they then know about the Facebook, which is about the community. Yeah. So they all kind of work together, if that makes sense. And that's my approach to it. Some people do it differently, but... Are you
using LinkedIn at all? Or is that not really...
No, I don't use LinkedIn. I used to use LinkedIn for one of the jobs heavily to get in touch with all these CEOs. So I know like how it all works, but I just don't think it's a very interesting...
It's your area, it's not...
Well, you can, but it would get a different demographic. Yeah. And I just can't be bothered with LinkedIn.
It's another one of the many things.
It's just another, it's another one where I'm like, no, I'm going to stick. It's going back to the products, right? Going back to Apple is I'd rather do less things
and do them right.
We'll do them right, but spend more time on them.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's people that do all of them. I'm like, how the hell do you have time to do all of those things? It's hard enough just doing one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next section, we've gone over Amazon and personal branding. I want to go a bit like deeper into you. I guess that sounds really wrong, but so it's more about sort of first we'll start off with your motivation sort of going forward. So do you see yourself starting any other businesses that necessarily aren't on the Amazon platform, or do you have any sort of other bigger personal goals yourself that you want to achieve?
That's a really good question. Yeah, definitely. Amazon for me, at the beginning it started like a means to just make some extra money, right? I think my goal with Amazon is to basically build and sell, right? I think it makes perfect sense, right? That you should have an exit plan with a business, and this is something my dad taught me, is when you're creating your business plan and when you're thinking about what is this business, you know, think about, well, when am I getting out of the business, right? Or is this a passion that you want to do forever, or is this something to make money? So for me, Amazon is something to make money, and I want to build something for 5 years, get the turnover as high as possible, right? Get the profit as high as possible, and then sell the company, right? To someone, maybe whoever it may be, sell it for a huge amount of money, and then basically just do the same thing. Or put that money into something else which is passive, right? Put it into property or stocks or whatever it may be, where it's super, super, super passive. Or put it into, I don't know, just enjoyment of life. I don't even know, right? So it's just a future plan. So yes, I want to do more businesses. The only thing that I do know is I don't want to be hands-on in the business. I don't want to be doing that one like at all. I want to be the business owner. Like I want to, you don't want to be in the business. I can't remember the saying, but I don't want to be working in the business. I want to be just owning the business and it works on my behalf. So I don't have any specific projects that I know that I'm going to go with at the moment, because at the moment it takes up a lot of time with everything going on.
But I suppose on a personal level then, do you have any sort of aspirations? I mean, we talked about your music. Was that something that you want to pursue? Or?
I think so. Like if I had to the point where I had time, the course stuff takes up a huge amount of time, like, you know, huge amount. So if I was able to get some more time back, or just decide to make more time, then getting into a bit more music and thinking, well, can I actually knowing what I know about social media, is there a way I can kind of game the system to make money with music, right?
Or just grow your name as an artist.
Or just grow your name as an artist, but the big thing is that it's either I have the businesses running in the background so I can do this as a passion without making money, right? So I've got the passive income coming in so I can dedicate time to it, or I do it as a business, so that, you know, I'm quite business focused. If I want to make income, right? Because I know that a lot of people say, oh, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it definitely buys you opportunities to be happy, right? So for example, the last house I was in cost me, you know, a lot of, in terms of percentage of my wage, a lot. And it was a bit cold, it was a bit dark and stuff like that, and I moved to this place, and as you can see, it's bright, it's a nice place. You know, it's not maybe like my forever home or anything like that, but it's definitely brought me a lot of happiness, right? It's not the physical money, it's what that can get you in terms of experiences or lifestyle. And I don't want that to go away, right?
So the passions need to bring in the income.
The passions need to bring in the income. So when I think about the YouTube channel, it ties into what I've been doing for years in terms of teaching people and like coaching people. And it's because I enjoy it. The reason I do it is hard work. The reason I do it is because I enjoy doing it. The reason I do the Amazon stuff is because I like the passive income. I like, you know, updating the app or seeing like the payouts. I'm like, sick, man, made loads of money today. Or like being on holiday and making money. So that's like, I really enjoy that, and that like gets me up in the morning. So I would only do things in the future that have that same sort of feeling. But I think property is definitely one I'd do more in life. I've bought a house and renovated it before, so I'd like to do that again, but have the time and the income to be able to do it and not worry about making money, so I can spend a month doing up a house like myself, because I enjoy doing it. Like, I could pay someone to do it, but I actually enjoy doing it myself, and then rent it out and just continue to do those sorts of things. In terms of like personal goals rather than maybe work, like career goals, I don't know, some people just think I'm an idiot, but I like things, right? I like stuff, and a lot of people might say, oh, that's materialistic. I just don't think it is. You like what you like. Some people like traveling the world. I'm not really into traveling the world. I'm into, you know, having guitars and technology and.
But that's absolutely fine. That's what makes you genuinely. If it's a facade, then that comes back to that self-awareness.
It genuinely makes me happy. Like when like the new iPhone came out today, like I went to the Apple shop today just to look at it, even though I know exactly what it looks like. I'm like, oh my god. And I'll probably end up getting one, even though I don't need it, because I'll sell the old one and get the new one, because I just I know it's a waste of money, but I just like it, right?
Yeah.
The same thing with the car stuff. I've always wanted nice cars, but could never the hell could afford one. And getting to the point where I'm looking at like nice cars, I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to not have that.
Well, we've seen on your channel trying out the Lamborghini.
Oh, that was actually the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Right, and that's not me just saying things. Like, that was the best thing I've ever decided to do in my life. And for those people that don't know, I hired a Lamborghini for I think 4 days it was, because I wanted to it's a dream of mine, right?
Yeah.
And like many people's, drive a supercar, and I thought, should I do a track day? And I was like, do you know what? No, with the track day you get to go around a few times, but you don't really get to feel what it's like.
See what it's like living it.
Living it and walking out and seeing it on the driveway was just the best experience. It was horrible giving it back, but that gave me a huge drive, right?
Yeah.
As in, now I'm fixated on it. And before it was that'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to have a sports car or a supercar. Now every single day I'm thinking about it, and with the law of attraction, and I'm a massive believer, if you want something, then you will make it happen.
Yeah.
Just by the actions that you take. And sorry if there's a lot of wind noise.
It should be fine.
Yeah, it's pretty blustery. But yeah, there's just little things. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but with maybe 2019, then maybe that's on the cards, right? If I can make enough that's an acceptable amount to spend a month, that doesn't kind of put me in a position where I'm like, ooh,
risky.
If my income dries up, then can I still pay for it? And if I can't sell it, right? Could I pay for it for 6 months? Because you can't just sell those cars overnight.
Yeah.
So it's all about risk versus reward. So those are things that I want, and I may get them and then realise that I don't want them. But because I had it for 4 days, I'm like, I definitely want this. I think my goals are, I just want to have a lifestyle where I'm comfortable. Yeah. Where I can treat people around me, take people on holidays. And then have the things that I like and not worry about the money side of things, because I've worried about money for years, and it's nice not to
alleviating that stress.
It's a huge stress thing. Every month I was literally going to the point of zero money, and then it would replenish. Everyone knows it's payday comes around and your money's gone before the end of the day, and that's really stressful. That I'm glad it's not like that anymore.
Yeah. So. Just, I suppose, one more thing before we get onto the Amazon product, because I know we've been going for a while now, but one last thing is, have you ever faced some real adversity or down times and it's made you stronger since? So do you have a particular time where you think that was a low but I came out of it? Or
I don't think so.
No.
I think the reason is that I don't know, maybe my girlfriend sometimes gets annoyed with me about this. Annoying things happen, crap things happen, but I just look at the positive side, and I know that can be really annoying.
I feel similar though, because my girlfriend would say the same thing, but I always go well, if you do this right, if it goes right, great. Yeah. If it goes wrong, now you know not what to do.
Well, exactly, yeah. And sometimes just people don't want to hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's honestly the way I look at things. Yeah. Is that there is a positive, and I've messed up stuff, and I've made mistakes, and I've lost money. One of my first businesses, I lost money on it. But in hindsight, it was it was a good experience. Yeah. Right? And hand on heart, even though at the time I thought it was this is terrible. It was very quick to get over, and it taught me a huge life lesson about people, and having things in writing is important. I don't think I've had one big adversity. I think it's just the main thing is that I think the big thing for me was having the job, and that was the big pain point for me. And a lot of people, that'll be just their everyday life, right? And I that was the point where I was like, that was my adversity, right? It was I was getting up every day and just being like, I cannot do this.
It wasn't a single pinpoint in time.
No, some people will have that, and I appreciate that people do. It's just that I just haven't had it. It's more of a built up angst with not being where I wanted to be. Yeah, I'd say.
Okay, so just quickly before we go into it, we'll do some quick fire questions now.
Okay.
Just a couple.
All right.
So, biggest person who influenced you?
Jesus, I can't be quick with this. It would probably be my dad, to be honest. Yeah, because it's like it was the subconscious stuff for years.
Yeah,
the brainwashing, maybe, I don't know.
In a positive way.
In a positive way, yeah.
Favorite music artist? Can be current. You don't have to.
Oh man. Favorite music artist. Well, I like a lot of people won't know who this is, but I really like a guy called Andy McKee. He does fingerstyle acoustic music. So yeah, he's a cool dude. But no one will probably know who he is.
If you could speak to 3 people, dead or alive.
Damn. 3 people, dead or alive. I think I'd like. There's some of like the generic right ones. I'd like to speak to someone like David Attenborough.
Mm-hmm.
Sir David Attenborough. Who else would I like to speak with? Man,
Steve Jobs?
Well, yeah, I don't know about him, actually. I think it'd be interesting, but I don't know. Maybe no, I don't think so.
No,
I think it'd be hard work. Man, I don't even know what to answer with that.
Okay, well, we can come back to it if you ever think about them. This one's probably a bit weird or obvious. Short or long Bitcoin?
What?
Short or long Bitcoin?
Yeah, man, hold it.
Hold it.
Yeah, hold it. Yeah, definitely. I think that technology will, it will continue. When I was doing this job with reaching out to CEOs, finance companies, we were all talking about cryptocurrency, and this was a couple of years ago now. All talking about it, and they're like, we are heavily looking into how we're going to use this in our businesses, and those businesses, they'll take 5 years to implement hardly anything. So yeah, I think it's got a huge amount of longevity in it. Yeah.
And I think we already mentioned this, but audiobook or real book?
Real book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sun or snow?
Definitely the sun. Yeah, I hate the cold weather.
And recommend one book?
Depends for different people, but I would say the big one that changed for me is the 4-Hour Work Week. It's a kind of a staple. Everyone reads it.
Tim
Ferriss, yeah. And that's the idea of the passive income. And when I read it was the first kind of business book I read. And when I read it, I didn't appreciate 4-hour work week, passive income. You think it's a bit of it's not real, but it is real. Yeah. So yeah, that's a big one.
And actually, let's throw in an extra one. An underrated YouTube channel that you want to plug.
Underrated? Is it yours? Is it?
No, you don't. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Underrated. Thing is, I watch just car ones. That's all I watch.
Yeah.
I don't tend to watch entrepreneur stuff. I just watch all the car vlogs.
So any car YouTube channel.
I watch all the UK guys. So you've got TGE, you've got Archie Hamilton, Supercars of London.
Yeah.
They all kind of knock around this area. So those are
collaborations.
Well, not for me. Yeah, definitely not for me. But yeah, no, those are the guys. That's the stuff that I enjoy watching. Cool. Is the kind of entertainment car stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Right. Well, we're going to get on to the product segment.
Right. Let's do it.